Hi, my name is Megan Deister, and I'm an occupational therapy student at the University of Kansas Medical Center. Today, I'm going to be sharing some tips with you on how to enhance the organization in your home that would benefit both you and your loved one, as well as sharing some tips on how to organize your daily routines and schedules. So, as far as tips on organization in general, you can add labels, and this can be with either words or pictures or both. Pictures can be of the actual item, it could be a drawing of the item, or it could be a picture from the internet. But you want to make sure, whether you're using words or pictures, that the labels are contrasted, meaning you have black font on white paper. You wouldn't want a bright yellow font or a bright yellow picture on white paper because the contrast would be harder to see, making it more difficult to identify the item. You could also use signs in the home, such as pointing to the direction of the bathroom or the kitchen, and then reorganizing in a way that makes the most sense, and I'll touch on that a little bit more later. So I'm going to start in the entryway. Having a dedicated space for the person's coat, their shoes, and anything like that would be beneficial as opposed to having them share a dedicated space for these items, just to help reduce some of that confusion if they're having a difficult time distinguishing which coat is theirs versus which one might be yours. You could make a sign and a place for keys right inside the door. This could be putting them in a bowl or hanging them on a hook with a sign or a picture or both for their keys. And the same goes for a wallet, just especially if they're losing these items frequently, helping them have like that visual cue of a designated place to put those items would be good. And it could also be in the same place as their coat. And make sure they have a space for a pair of shoes, just to help give them another visual reminder of them needing to put shoes on prior before leaving the home if they're walking around the house without shoes on. And you could also make a visual list of things needed before leaving the house, such as keys, wallet, shoes, coat if needed. You can make this list laminated and use an expo marker and have them check it off each time before they leave if they want, or you can just have the piece of paper next to the door. So next I want to talk about strategies to organize in the kitchen. You could label cabinets or drawers with the contents inside, such as where the silverware is, where cups are, where plates are, different things like that. If possible, try and limit the number of items in the drawer. For example, with the silverware drawer, if you have an extra drawer that could be used to put a couple forks, a couple spoons, just different things like that, and really reduce the number of items in a drawer, that would be great. But if not, it could just be taking some rearranging or limiting some items in these areas if possible. But if that's not a possibility, just labeling cabinets or drawers are also beneficial. And compile items in a way that makes the most sense. And so one example of this would be having mugs next to the tea bags in the cabinet, or having coffee cups next to the coffee creamer if you get the coffee creamer that doesn't need to be refrigerated. So organizing in a way where they would take the items that are needed in the same cabinet or in the same drawer. As far as kitchen organization, you could dedicate a drawer or a shelf for the things they use, especially if they're using adaptive equipment such as weighted utensils, divided plates, or a special cup. Putting those all in one place so it's easy for them to locate all of the items they need might be beneficial. And labeling with both pictures and words, or one or the other. So maybe picking one and using the same system throughout the entire kitchen to try and maybe lessen that confusion. So if you want to do all pictures, do all pictures throughout the kitchen. If you want to do just words, use all words throughout the kitchen. Or if you want to use both throughout the kitchen, but try and pick one strategy and be consistent with that throughout the entire room. So as far as the bedroom, you can label drawers for different articles of clothing that it holds, such as shirts, pants, and socks. It would also be good to have an alarm clock with the day and the time and the date as well, and having this somewhere in the room where they will see it when they wake up. You could also use baskets for item used frequently. This could look like placing the outfit for the day in a small laundry basket. And It could also be in a place that they will see it out in the open, such as outside the bathroom, near the bed, or the nightstand, and this could also go for coats and hats as well. So I talked a little bit about baskets before, but you could also label the laundry hamper by saying dirty clothes or something like that, and labeling that other basket as clean clothes or clothes for the day. You could put pictures of the items in the closet, but make sure that it's organized in a way where all the short sleeve shirts are together, long sleeve shirts are together, pants are together, and things like that, so they're not having to jump around and search for all of these different items, because that can be very overwhelming. You could also make signs for the bathroom and the direction the bathroom's in, and you could put these in the hallway. You could also put it in the bedroom, and that could be a good visual cue for them to use the bathroom when they wake up from a nap or wake up for the day. So now I'm going to talk about bathroom organization. So if possible, designate a drawer for only their items. You can also leave frequently used items out, such as toothbrush, toothpaste, the brush, combs, and deodorant in an area that they will see, such as right next to the sink. And then label drawers and cabinets as simple as possible. So if they might need a roll of toilet paper, labeling the cabinet that holds the toilet paper would be good, as well as extra soap, hand towels, and different things like that. As far as bathroom organization, if dedicating a drawer to their items isn't possible, you could also consider getting a small storage bin that has drawers to condense their items, and use the same labeling system as you would with other things. And you can even put their name or their picture on it so they know it's for them. And this can contain all the bathroom items that they need, including toilet paper if they need extra soap, different things like that. So keep it simple and don't put excessive items in one area. Make sure they're divided equally among the drawers and all the items are spread out. Because if there's too many items in one drawer, it can be overwhelming and it might increase their difficulty of finding the items that they really need. And if possible, moving your things to another bathroom would be beneficial to decrease any confusion with determining which products are theirs. But if that's not possible, that's okay. You can use one of the strategies that I have talked about as well. So next, let's talk about the living room. So if you're having trouble finding the remotes, or your loved one is often misplacing them and it's hard for them to see, try putting a piece of brightly colored tape on the back of the remotes for some contrast. And cover any buttons that are not needed with tape or something similar. So for example, oftentimes an input button is very close to the power button, and it can be confusing to figure out which button is needed to turn the TV on. So try covering up the input button with a piece of tape, just to eliminate some of those extra buttons that aren't really needed as often, and that might help them try and figure out which button is the power button and reduce some of that confusion. So a couple more tips for living room organization. Try and find an area to designate where to put the remotes when not in use. So your loved one might not always remember to put those remotes back in that spot, but it will be helpful for them to find when they are wanting to watch TV. They just have that designated spot with a label so they can more easily identify where the remotes are. If you love movies and you have a lot of movies, organize them in a way that makes sense to them. You could put them in alphabetical order. You can put similar movies together, maybe by who they're produced by, the genre, all grouped together in that way. And this goes for any kind of collection that you might have, maybe something like puzzles, games, or different things like that. Next, I want to talk about routines and schedules. So there is no right or wrong way to make this. It can be done multiple ways. It can be as big as a daily schedule. It could be just a morning schedule or a morning routine, or it could be something even like a shower schedule or a shower routine. Really, it can be broken down for any task. And you can make this together each day, or you can make one that they follow each and every day. And it can be done in increments such as morning, afternoon, evening, or it can be made for the entire day at once. You could also make it an activity that you do together. and customize it to where they're able to do activities that they enjoy throughout the day, so they have something to look forward to. So, routines and schedules are beneficial for many reasons. One reason is it's used as a general guideline for expectations for that day, and it doesn't need to be followed perfectly, but it does help them kind of set their expectations for the day and know what to do throughout the day. It also helps with transitions, and so sometimes not knowing what's going to happen throughout the day can make a person anxious. So, kind of helping them know what to expect throughout the day might help reduce some of that anxiety or fear. So, I created a couple of examples for different routines and schedules. So, for this specific one, I just decided to put the activity on the left and the items needed on the right. There's no right or wrong way to do this. This is just one idea that I had, and you can definitely customize it to what you feel like your loved one would benefit from the most. So, as you can see, I put different things that someone might do in the morning on the left, and then the items needed to complete that activity on the right. You can also make this a checklist if you want to laminate it or if you want to put it in one of those plastic covers that go in binders. That would also be good, and then that way they can check off each of the activities that they did so they remember that they did that. So this is for just like a short morning routine, and then I will talk about a longer daily schedule next. So as you can see, this one is a little bit longer, but this is a full daily routine. So I just picked a time that would maybe be natural to wake up and go to bed and filled it in by time increments. These time increments can be adjusted based on your loved one's daily routine. And if they like to get dressed in the morning before breakfast, then you can always put that first. It's definitely dependent on what they prefer to do. A good thing about this is if you have a chunk of free time on a day, let's say from like 1 to 2, you can always have them pick an activity or ask them what they would like to do during that time, just so they have a say in what their daily routine would be. And you can always have a rough outline with the time, so you're not having to rewrite this every day. But if it's not followed perfectly, that's totally okay. It's just to help manage expectations for a day and kind of help someone know what to expect. If you do not want to draw this daily routine chart every day, a good option would be to maybe print out a chart, or you could even draw your own and have the rough time estimates over on one side, and then either laminate it if you have that resource, or you can put it in a clear plastic sleeve, like those ones that you can put in binders. I've talked about them earlier. And that way you can just put like an expo marker and draw over it, and you can easily erase an activity that might need to be changed. So for example, if you have an appointment at 1 o'clock where you normally play cards, you could erase play cards and just write in appointment and then replace it the next day, just so they kind of know any changes in the routines as well. So just to wrap things up, my hope is to assist you with developing a strategy for you to use with your loved one. It doesn't have to be followed to an exact T, because it's customizable to them. And you obviously know your loved one best, so you know what's going to work best for them. And you can also just make it a collaborative activity to make it a little bit more fun and get them involved as well. And these labels don't have to be anything fancy. It could be as simple as a piece of paper and a marker. And you can make it, your loved one can make it, and that is something else that you can do together. So I hope that you learned something new, and thank you so much for watching.